Welcome to this tutorial on cards. Every chart in Lexchart has cards and links. A card can be a person, a company, a trust, any type of legal entity, a division, or a business unit. Really, anything you want to represent on the chart. A link is the connection between cards, such as an ownership, management, or financing relationship. I want to show you how to work with cards in Lexchart. For this tutorial, we have 3 cards: a trust, a corporation, and an individual. I will add a 4th card, a limited liability company. We will add data to each card, and then design them. There are several ways to access cards. To add a card, we would come to the toolbar and choose the plus, or from the menu, insert and add card. This will bring up this card window, and don't worry about the details. We're going to cover all this in just a moment. Let's just get our new LLC on the canvas. We'll get Great New Co. on the canvas. And so now we have 4 cards. We can edit any of these by selecting one. And then we have 3 options. So we can simply double click that card and it will open the edit window for that card. We can come to the toolbar and choose the pencil icon or the edit button. And we can also come to the menu and choose edit, edit selected. Any of those will work. And then we're back here and you'll notice that the name is already populated. So the first thing I can do is edit the name. Maybe I don't want this space between new and co. So now we have Great New Co. as a single word. There are 2 questions to ask for every card. What do you want to communicate about the entity? And how do you want to display that entity on the chart? With Lexchart, you control both the data and the design, which you can see reflected in this window. So we want to add data to Great New Co. So down below the name, you'll see we have these 2 boxes, and one says add or select a label, and the other says enter data. So you can add as much data about Great New Co. that you want. Both of these fields are optional. They're not required, either independently or together. We're going to do the most common additions of labels and data. We're going to add a jurisdiction and an entity type. So let's start with jurisdiction. And we're going to put Great New Co. in Delaware. We've already said it's an LLC, but we want to show that. So we're just going to say type LLC. And so you'll see each time we do that, we get a new row of label and data. So we could keep going and add more and more data about this if we wanted to. And we'll return to this design half in a little bit, but you'll see that some of those labels and data are displayed over here on the right-hand side. And now we have Great New Co. with jurisdiction and type. Let's add jurisdiction and type to the other cards on the chart. When you go to edit any other card and you select label, the labels you have created in the other cards are all available to you. This allows you to provide consistent labels and data across your cards if you want, completely optional. We'll see that in just a moment. So we'll add jurisdiction, and we will say all right, now we have all 4 cards with jurisdiction and type assigned to them. So we've been able to reuse those labels across all the cards. Provides a nice consistent presentation of data about each of these entities. But we can also add data independently of the other cards. Let's imagine, for example, we want to indicate the tax status of any holding company. We can come back, and in here, we can say that it is a subchapter C corporation specifically. No other card has that tax status information, and Lexchart's completely fine with that. So in that way, you can add unlimited labels and data to any card in Lexchart. Now let's begin to design these cards. We've added the data about them. We want to present them differently than this grayscale. Over here on the right, we're editing any holding company's design. Now, as we hover over these, you'll see that Lexchart will show you what you're working with. So in this case, we're working with the labels. You can hold down the Command key and select both of those, or all three if you choose, and then any changes you make in the toolbar will be applied to everything. Let's start with the border. We're going to make the border dotted, and we will change its color to blue. We also want all of the text to be blue, so we're just going to change all of it to blue. And maybe we don't like the labels to be blue. We want to make those gray. So now we can select those if we want and make them a separate color. We'll make them a light gray. And there they are. So now I have all of these. And if you decide that's too light, just darken it up. So now I have a beginning of a design here, and maybe we want to fill the card a little bit. So I'll show you an advanced technique for filling the cards. We're going to select blue. Now, if I made it solid blue, obviously the text would be obscured. So we're going to make it opaque. When you have an RGBA color value, the last number here it controls opacity. So instead of 100%, that's what the 1 means, we're going to make it 0.1, that's 10%, and we'll get this effect. Now, all of these controls are pretty straightforward in terms of the toolbar for the most part. So we can make things bold or unbold, we can underline them or not, we can italicize them or not, and we can change their size as well. We've been changing the color of the text, the fill, and the border really easily. Same with alignment. So one of the things to do when you have a side-by-side labels and data is to make them right aligned, and that will position them closely to their data, which can be a nice presentation for readability. Over here on the right, we have two buttons that might be a little unusual. So the vertical position button will change the orientation of the labels and data to vertical. In other words, they'll be on top of each other, like this. So now I have jurisdiction and New York underneath it, and type and corporation underneath it. If I tap vertical again, that will reverse the vertical position. So now the data is on top and the label is underneath. You'll see New York is here and jurisdiction is underneath. Now there is more gap between these to make it easy to work with in the designer, but when you go to the chart, you'll see that the presentation is much more readable than this. You can reverse the vertical position by using the horizontal position, which will put it back in horizontal. And if you select horizontal again, it will reverse the position of the labels and data in the horizontal position. So now I have data on the left and labels on the right. So let's make it vertical and see what that looks like. And so here you'll have the label and data close to each other and nicely presented in a vertical stack. But none of my other cards look like this, and I would really like them to at least share this vertical position, even if they're still going to be black and white. So we're going to select all three of these, and we're going to begin to make some changes. Notice that with all of them selected, they now all have the label on top and the data underneath. And we can change the text color. Now we're going to do that for everything if we do it this way. Now you'll notice that that changed the name as well as the labels and data, which I don't want. I want solid names but faded labels and data. So I'm going to go back and undo that. I'm going to select all three of these, and then I'm going to choose the edit button. And now we have the ability to format them at a granular level really specifically. So you'll notice that multiple cards are selected, so you can format but can't change the data because the data is presumably different across those cards. But I can format them consistently. So let's come to the labels, and I'm going to change that to softer gray, and we're going to make this that same gray as well, and leave the name black. And maybe we're going to make all the border on all of them, we'll leave it gray. I want to make it dotted as well. So now if we choose save, they are like that. So very powerful way to sort of format and present cards in just the way you want. That's how to work with data and design in cards, plus a bonus, multi-select cards and format them collectively. We hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to come back for more.